much have you? Ken Jenkins is an aviation disaster consultant and is joining us here on KOGO. You know, Ken, there is so much about this that is just absolutely, but simultaneously heartbreaking and sickening. I almost don't know where to begin, but where are these families?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on today, and I appreciate the fact that you find it heartbreaking, as I do, and I'm sure everybody that's watching the news, I hope they feel the same way. It is a very sad situation. I'm not sure where the family members are. There hasn't been, as you mentioned, a lot of discussion or that we've seen in the news about the family members. I did hear a particular interview today on CNN that was, I think, very poignant, and that the surviving family member said that in this particular case, there are no rules when it comes to morality and dignity with respect to the remains and the personal effects from the accident site. And, I mean, he said it really quite well. It's like, you know, we're watching this, and it's just, you know, sad to see.
Well, Ken, we even had a Sky News reporter who had to apologize, and so did Sky News, as he was reporting from the crash scene. He opened up someone's suitcase, and you know, immediately, to his credit, immediately realized, oh my God, look at what I've done. This is not appropriate.
Right.
But still, that there was a reporter there looking through people's stuff is amazing.
Yes, it is very amazing, and there's such a significant emotional tie to the personal belongings. I've worked a number of accidents, and I say unfortunately because, you know, it's never a good situation. And being able to return personal belongings is a key aspect to any aviation mass casualty event. People want to have the last things that their loved one might have touched. And so to see them luggage and items being pilfered and looted through is a second and a third and a fourth assault, if you will, to the family members. Certainly the first assault is the fact that their loved one is now dead. And then to watch and hear that bodies are laying, you know, on the ground for 2 or 3, 4 days, and to have somebody pilfer through their luggage, I don't know how they could be handling this well.
Ken Jenkins is with us. He's a professional emergency manager with a lot of experience in planning, logistics, training, deployment response, and after action analysis in situations like this. Ken, the UN Security Council adopted a resolution that demanded full access to the crash site. It condemned the downing of the plane. It won unanimous approval from the 15-member council, which, by the way, includes Russia, but it really didn't specify who was responsible for the crash, and it wasn't really it wasn't even really strongly worded when it comes to a smack on the hand of whoever was keeping investigators away from this crash.
And that's interesting to see how it was worded, because there didn't seem to be a lot of strength, although it's a good first step. There are examples that are already out there, I guess I should say, with ICAO, which is the International Civil Aviation Authority organization, that provides guidelines on the accident investigation and who should conduct the investigation. They even have guidelines on family assistance and how an airline and other agencies should respond to the families with suggestions in terms of how to respond. Say, for example, having a family assistance center set up at the board point and the off point of the flight, which would be Amsterdam and Kuala Lumpur. And these would be locations where the family members that are in either of those locations, LaDonna, could go to and receive information from the airline and the investigative authorities with regards to what's going on, information that is factual, hopefully timely, and that information is provided to them in a secure, comfortable location. I have no idea if that's being done at this point.
Malaysian Airlines, though, this is the second disaster that they have incurred. It is not this one was not their fault, obviously. The disappearance of the flight was not handled as well as it could be. Does this signal the end of that particular airline?
Well, and that's certainly been the rumor in the news, and personally I don't think that's going to be the case. One, as you pointed out, that this was not Malaysia Airlines' fault. And from some of the things that I have been hearing in the news is that family members that have come forward to be interviewed have said that they've been receiving information and from Malaysia Airlines, and some of the families from Flight 370 have said that they believe that Flight 17 families are receiving more information than the Flight 370 families did. And as long as I think Malaysia Airlines is responding compassionately and with empathy in a timely manner and providing information, I think you'll see them weather this storm. Other airlines have done that successfully. One carrier had a number of accidents over a 10-year period. That's a U.S.-based carrier that had survived and is still flying today. Another one had 5 fatal accidents in 5 years, and they're still flying today. It all comes back to how well you respond and how you keep people informed on your safety protocols going forward.
Ken Jenkins is with us, an emergency manager with a lot of experience in dealing with the aftermath of disasters. So what happens at this point, now that we do actually have people on scene, but we don't know what had happened prior to a lot of these crash experts being allowed on scene? We don't know what was taken out of the crash site. How do they handle the information that comes out now? Because I think people are really desperate for an actual cause. Who did this?
Well, and that's certainly going to be at the root of the investigation. I don't know that we'll find a lot of information from the black boxes that will point as to the missile and who, was it the separatists or was it Russia itself? I think what you'll find is just confirmation of the altitude and the speed of the aircraft, whether or not that they had their friend or foe transponder operational or not. What should happen, though, is when the remains are released to the authorities, we should begin to see a repatriation of remains to loved ones so that they can have a proper burial or cremation service taken care of for their family members. The personal belongings that are on scene, depending on how much time there is to access of the site, there should be a grid that is laid out and where the items were found, pictures taken, video taken, and then those items inventoried and cataloged. And then typically they are processed, and by process I mean simply to be made safe to handle. Any bloodborne pathogens, any kind of contaminant would be removed, and then family members would have the opportunity to claim those items that were found and receive them back from the airline.
Can civilian airlines detect something like a missile? I mean, would they have had any idea what was going on?
No. No.
I didn't think so. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Now, here's my other question is, knowing that this area was a dangerous area, knowing that planes had been shot down in the area, why would they fly over that part of Ukraine?
When it said that, I would say the same thing that you're probably thinking is, why would you do that? But the international route structure is set up such that even for Malaysia Flight 17, they were considered in a safe zone, if you will. They were at an altitude that they were allowed to fly. There was nothing that was given to them that said from ICAO or the IATA, which is another transportation organization, that said you are not allowed to be in that part of the country at that altitude. So they were able to be where they needed to be. And there were a number of flights that went before them and immediately after them. And then right after this event happened, that airspace was restricted, and then airlines started to circumvent and go around where they were. So it's a difficult question to answer because we don't know what the Malaysian pilots were considering, if they had any additional intelligence other than what's known today, which was that they were in a safe area.
What I don't understand, though, is the actual agencies telling them that it was a safe area, telling them that it was a safe area.
Certainly hindsight's a great thing to have, and today now they're saying, well, of course, we should have probably done something different. And one person basically said that it was the luck of the draw as to which plane was going to get hit in that time period.
There was an Air India flight right behind MH17.
Right, and even tried to reach out to the Malaysia Airlines flight after it went down.
Wow, it's an amazing story. It's heartbreaking for the families, and I know, Ken, that answers are going to be really difficult to get because of the phenomenal amount of tampering. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
All right, that's Ken Jenkins, who is an aviation disaster consultant. He used to work for America Airlines and has worked with several airlines in the aftermath of disasters like this.